They don't wear capes. They don't make announcements. And most of what they do, you will never hear about. From counter-terror missions, to hostage rescues, to eliminating targets no one else can reach. This is the world of the SAS.
Rank 1, Selection Candidate, Brecon Beacons. Before anything else, one thing to understand. This is not training. Training is designed for you to succeed. This is elimination. It is designed for you to fail, and to fail correctly, meaning on your own terms, by your own decision, so that when you stop, it is because you stopped, and no one can pretend otherwise. The directing staff do not call you by name. You are a number on a clipboard. If you vanish from the hills tonight, the list gets updated by morning. That is the full extent of the notification process. The hills. Peña Fan. Bergen on your back. 25 kilograms of dead weight. And map case. And water you ration across 8 hours. No route card. You navigate by compass and terrain. And if you get it wrong, you add distance. And if you add distance, you add time. And if you add time, you are still out here when the checkpoint closes. The hills do not care about any of this. That is the point of the hills. Tab. Tactical advance to battle. 1 foot, then the other. Your brain turns off everything that is not load-bearing. You eat in motion. You check compass in motion. You do not stop moving unless the ground makes you stop. 3 to 4 hours of sleep. Hunger is not processed as an emergency. It is processed as weather. It is happening. You are aware. You continue. Week 2. Something shifts. Not in the training, in your processing. You stop thinking about yesterday, not because you forget it, because your brain, somewhere around day 9 or 10, reclassifies the past as non-operational data. It stops loading yesterday's miles into today's calculation. There is only the next checkpoint. The DS would call this a good sign. You will not know that for another week. Day 11. A blister opens on your right heel, deep, infected at the edges. The medical officer asks if you want to withdraw. You say no. He writes something on his clipboard. He does not explain what. You never find out what he wrote. You realize your brain has been processing pain as information, not as warning. Not stop, just yes, this is happening, continue. You did not know your brain worked that way. You know it now. Night 9. Navigation exercise. Solo. No team, no radio. Just compass, terrain, and a 6-figure grid reference. You reach the checkpoint. There is no one there. You sit for 4 minutes. You do not know if this is a test, or if you got it wrong, or if the DS left early. You decide none of those things matter. You continue on compass bearing. The next morning, the DS says nothing about the night before. Nobody does. You do not know to this day whether you passed something or failed something. That, it turns out, is also part of it.
Rank 2. Badged Operator. Hereford. Something changes when you receive the beret. Not in the ceremony. There is no ceremony. A man hands it to you in a corridor. That is it. And the thing that changes is not pride or relief. It is the sudden understanding that this was not the finish line. This was the entrance exam. You are now a badged operator. You are assigned to Sabre Squadron, and for the first time, you understand why SAS operates in 4-man patrols. It is not a tactical choice. It is a philosophical one. 4 is the smallest number where the individual disappears into the unit. Your 3 teammates know your walk from 200 meters. They know which direction you check first when a door opens. They know the sound of your breathing when something is wrong. You have not told them any of this. They have simply been watching, the way you have been watching them. 1 look, 1 hand signal. You do not need more than that. Civilian language does not have a word for what that kind of trust feels like. You are not going to try to describe it. The killing house. This is the CQB training facility at Hereford, and nobody outside this building calls it that. The MP5, the L119A2. You learn human anatomy the way a surgeon learns it, not to repair, but to understand mechanical failure, specific vessels, specific response times. Your hands do not shake when you learn this. That is the first thing you notice about yourself. The room is set up with targets, hostage silhouettes, and shooter silhouettes, intermixed, no fixed pattern. The pattern changes every run. You have 0.3 seconds to identify and decide. Shoot the wrong target and the drill stops. No explanation, no debrief. The instructor resets the room. You run it again. The flashbang hallway. You go in after the detonation, and for 2.4 seconds, your vision is white, and your ears are pressure, and you are making a decision inside that white. You run it again and again until the white is not blindness, it is just the first frame of entry. Live breach. The door does not open. The door is no longer there. You are already inside before the dust settles, and you are already sorted, and the room is already cleared before anyone outside has registered that entry happened. That is not a metaphor. That is the drill. Week 3 in the killing house. You shoot the wrong silhouette. The instructor does not say anything. Reset. You shoot wrong again. Reset. On the 7th run, you are correct. The instructor still does not say anything. You understand then, this is an environment with no feedback loop because the operational environment has no feedback loop. There is no one outside the building who will tell you if you got it right. You build the internal calibration, or you do not. 3 months in, your younger brother wants to see a film, action, military, the kind with breach scenes in CQB corridors. You go. The actor holds the weapon wrong, the entry angle is wrong, the muzzle discipline is wrong, the movement after entry, wrong, wrong, wrong. You do not say anything. You look at your drink. Your brother says it looks sick. You nod. That is the last time you watch this genre of film, not because it offends you, because it has become illegible to you, like trying to read a language you no longer think in. Competence does not feel like confidence, it feels like silence. The noise inside your head, the commentary, the doubt, the calculation, it stops. There is just the room and what needs to happen in it. You did not know that was what it felt like until now. Rank 3, CRW Operator, 2 peaks. When you are assigned to CRW, Counter-Revolutionary Warfare Wing, one word leaves your vocabulary: if. There is only when. You are blue team. You carry a stun grenade in one hand and a breaching charge assessment in the other. You are first through the door, always. Every scenario has been rehearsed to muscle memory. You also know that no scenario has ever matched the building exactly. You go through the door first anyway. Peak 1. The Iranian Embassy, 5 May 1980. The call comes at 7:23 p.m. Go, go, go. You rope down from the roof of 27 Prince's Gate, London. The glass breaks before you reach the window frame. Stun grenade, then you. There is no dramatic music. There are boots on wooden floors. There is smoke. There is the sound of another team hitting the floor below. 11 minutes, 26 hostages, 5 attackers. The world is watching this on the BBC, live. You do not know that. You will not know that until later tonight. Right now there is only the building, the floor plan you have run 200 times, and the 3 men moving with you. When it is over, you are already in a white van with no plates, moving west. No press, no handshake from a general. The television cameras catch a shape in a black mask on a balcony. That shape is you. That is the full extent of your public record. That night, one person in the debrief room asks, "Everyone good?" You nod. The room moves on. There is no psychological debrief. There is no hotline number. There is no form to fill in. The SAS model is not that they do not care. The model is you are operational until you are not, and you are responsible for knowing the difference. Peak 2. Desert Night Raid, present day. The vehicle is a Land Rover Defender, desert pink. pink because in the sand at the right light angle, it reads as shadow. You learned this in week 1 of vehicle training. It still looks wrong. No headlights, GPS overlay and ground texture. The compound is 1,400 meters northeast. The ISR feed comes in on your earpiece. Primary target, sleeping. 3 armed, ground floor. 2 civilian, east room, no movement. East room, 2 civilians. You fix that in your memory like a grid reference. It will not leave your memory. It will not leave your memory for 3 years. At the outer wall, the lock does not match the intelligence brief. It's a different mechanism. You have 2 seconds. Explosive breach wakes the building. Manual breach may not hold. You kick. The door opens. Flashbang. You enter. The room runs exactly the way you rehearsed it, and completely differently. It ends in 4 minutes and 11 seconds. After, you sit against the vehicle. The mission is complete. The team is intact. One man has a graze on his forearm. You look at his forearm. You do not think about the building. You think about whether the graze needs a field dressing. It does not. The hype dissolves in under 90 seconds. What replaces it is not guilt, not heroism, just done, like closing a file. There is a version of you that quit at fan dance. He went back to his unit. He sleeps 8 hours. He can watch any film he wants. You do not know if he is happier than you, but he has never had to remember the East Room. He has never had to know what it costs to get the door right. One more thing about this rank. This is the moment, right here, in the operational space between the intel feed and the door, where no algorithm replaces you. Not because of reaction speed, because when the ISR says one thing and the lock says another, and you have 2 seconds, there is no dataset for that specific door in that specific compound at that specific second. There is only the person who has been standing in the killing house getting the white wrong for 7 runs until it was right. That is what is behind the door. That is what makes the decision.
Rank 4, Senior Operator. The invisible years. 10 years. Here is what Rank 1 does not know. 70% of this job is waiting, reading intelligence reports, and preparing for operations that are canceled before they begin. 30% is what everyone outside thinks is 100%. You are now a senior operator. You are admitted to briefings with no title on the door. Not because the information is more classified, because understanding the context requires having been wrong enough times to know what the right question is. The regiment has a structure that does not exist on any public document. You know who to call at 3 a.m. in a country you are not supposed to be in. You know which liaison officer actually reads his messages and which one forwards everything to an assistant. You know the name of the man who can clear a timeline in 6 hours instead of 48. None of this is in a manual. All of it is the job. 4th deployment. You come home. Your child is 7. She does not remember where you were for the past year because you told her nothing, and she has stopped asking. You do not explain, not because it is classified, because the true version would frighten her, and the comfortable version would be a lie. You have become very good at finding the gap between those 2 options and living in it. You choose silence, this time and the times after. One evening, a pub in Hereford, back against the wall, eyes on the door, both of them, not just the one you are facing. Someone at the bar asks what you do. Work for the government, you say. They nod. Nobody asks more. It is a perfect answer, technically accurate, operationally complete, tells them nothing. You realize you have become excellent at leaving no trace. In a building, in a city, in a conversation, even in rooms with people who love you. That is a skill. It is also what it cost. The same thing. You are 45. Right shoulder does not rotate past 160 degrees. Hasn't since 2003. Left knee announces itself on stairs. 3 scars you cannot precisely date. Not because they faded, because there were enough of them that the sequence blurred. This is the inventory, not a complaint, not a badge, just the ledger. Here is what most people never find out about themselves. How their mind behaves when stopping would be the easier choice. Not the dramatic kind of stopping, not giving up on a dream, not walking away from something big. The operational kind. The 3 a.m. kind. Alone on a hill in Wales with 19 kilometers still on the map. Most people never encounter the conditions to find out. They go through their entire lives without that data. You have that data. You gathered it at Fan Dance, at the Killing House, in a white van leaving London, beside a locked door in a desert compound at 2 in the morning. You know how your brain behaves when the quit signal arrives and something in you simply does not receive it. That is not a story. That is a fact about your own architecture. Not many people get to have that fact. The question was never whether you could do this. The question is the one you have been carrying since day 4 of selection, since the man who asked how much further rang the bell, and you stood there realizing the question had never even formed in your head. That defect, that malfunction, that specific failure to receive the quit signal on time, you have been running it your whole life. What are you running it into right now?